Hello, good morning, cheers, coffee. Welcome back to those of you who have been here before, and those of you that are new, welcome. So happy to have you. My name is Amber, and we play with paper and various mediums, and we make lots of fun things for art journaling, junk journaling, mixed media stuff. So thanks for popping by. I want to try something today that is completely different. Total experiment. No idea if it's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot together, and we'll see what happens. If it's an epic failure, then I guess we've learned together, and it's not time wasted, in my opinion. So we have done these little faux ceramic tags, and I've done some color swatches. I'm getting ready to go out of town, so I'm kind of filming in advance. So I'm thinking that this video would be up already. So I've got these swatches, and the colors are so beautiful that I thought, what if we made ceramic butterflies or dragonflies or bees, flowers, and used those as a focal point, either on cards or a page, or you know, just a standalone piece of art. So that's what I want to try to do today, incorporating some of the different colors. So I'm starting with this cardstock, and we're going to be covering it with embossing powder, so the color really doesn't make any difference at this point. I just wanted something sturdy, and so I had this at hand, and it's a good size. So what I'm going to attempt to do, I'm going to grab, where is my big black? Here's some Stays On. We'll use that. This will work. Stays On or archival, something that will stay on, I guess is the better way to put it. I'm going to stamp a couple images, cut them out, and then we'll proceed. I don't know what this stamp set is called. I don't know where I got it. That's just something that I've had for a bit. And clearly I've used the only one I've used is, I've got a flower somewhere that fell off. I've used this, whatever you call that, cluster, wreath, half wreath. But I haven't used most of them, and I've used the bird. So let's have a play and see what we can end up with. Now this image will be covered, and then we will restamp it a second time. So I'm going to give it a good press. Perfect. Might be a little hard to see there. And how about, there's this butterfly that's half flowers, which is really pretty, but for today, I think we'll go with the standard butterfly. We might be able to do that without having to be, you know, super fit. Let's start easy. We can get more complicated later should we choose, but let's experiment with the slightly more straightforward options. Very nice. And do we want to do the moth or the bumblebee? Let's do the bumblebee. I don't use bees often enough. Let's see, I'll get most of him solid if we go this way. Oops, that's okay. Got a little bit of a double stamp there, but that is okay. Oops, forgot that too. It's all right, we'll get back to it. I'm going to cut these out now. I do have smaller scissors, but I like these ones. So let's just make these manageable sized for starting. No reason to fumble around a giant piece of paper if we don't need to. All right. We'll just fussy cut around here. And the trick with fussy cutting, one, use the right size scissors, but the trick to having the easiest time with fussy cutting is to hold your scissors in the same spot and move your paper. That gives you a nice, I'm gonna go clear down here, and then we'll get the other piece out here in a moment. And it doesn't have to be exact. You can leave a little bit of a border if you want. I probably should have left a little more of a border since we're going to be restamping the image. Probably would have been a little helpful, but 'tis okay. We can do that on the next one. All right, let's go in and get these wings. I had some neat leaf images that I thought about using for this, but I got a little concerned about the delicacy of the stem. So I thought, let's try something that's not quite so prone to falling apart. And if we want to get fancy later and work with those harder images, then that can be a project for another day. All right, number one. Come on, out of, well, okay. Or just hide under my desk, under my mat, that's okay too. I'm going to leave these two together. I'm gonna cut around those antennae individually. I am going to go in here, however. If you have a die cut, that would also be super convenient to get your shapes cut out, but I don't for these images, so we're just going to take care of this manually with a little fussy cutting. It really doesn't take super long. And if you have a slip, no big deal because it's paper. And when you mount it, or yeah, when you mount it, you can just glue it back together. No problem at all. I'm not good at having consistent space all the way around, so we just work with what we have, and I'm okay with that. I don't want to get too hung up on that level of detail. We want it to look nice, right? We want it to look well made and finished nicely, but perfect is our enemy, and we have no space for perfection here. Not that it doesn't loom in the background, guys, let's be real, but we hide it. We hide it, push it down. Almost done. I'm sure that I'm not the first person to do this faux ceramic. I'm sure it's out there somewhere in the giant universe that is YouTube, but I haven't seen it, so we're just playing around and giving it a try. Okay, so we've got our, oh, that's a mess. We're not going to use that or we're going to have a disaster. Let's get a fresh piece of copy paper. And I am going to go ahead and pre-fold it because I usually don't, and then it's just a mess trying to get it back up. All right, so our first step is going to be to do our white embossing powder. This is very old. It is not white, it's cream. We could do white. However, I'm going to do this because it looks a little more ceramic-y, I think, than white might. Take my embossing ink here. I'm just going to go over the entire thing. Get it good and covered. We're going to do all three. Oops, I'm going to do all three at once. It is soaking in pretty well, so I'm hoping that we still have enough of a sticky layer that it will stick. We'll see what we end up with. I've not embossed on this paper before, so it might be tricky. But let's see what we end up with. And it's old and has all these chunks in it, but we'll just make sure that we have plenty to get good coverage. I usually have a hard time just letting it all flow out like this, but it all goes back in, so it's not like I'm wasting. It's fine. It is just fine. All right, now let's see what we ended up with. I'm going to grab my tweezers, which I have essentially ruined messing with embossing powder already. Okay, so there's one. Paper. I'll get something to set this on. Set this here. I'm going to give it a little tap because I've got some spaces that were a little bit thick, it looked like. All right, so here's this. Before we heat that up, let's get this back in our jar. Oh, cool. That looks kind of cool with the outline. Carefully paying attention to this, not just... I feel like we've got to emboss that too, because it's pretty cool. Why not? Maybe we can find something to do with it, right? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. All right, so let's get these going and right, now onto this one. I'm gonna hold it up a little higher so hopefully we don't blow them everywhere. Don't stick together. Uh-oh, get away, get away. All right, well, we got some texture. All right, let's see what we've ended up with. Let's see, we did this one first, so it's the coolest. Okay. I think that this could use another layer. We've got some of the dark showing through. We can still see some of the ink. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do another layer. Well, now I don't want to ruin this. Oh well. We'll see what we end up with. Multi-layered, right? Doing a second layer. One, it'll give us more stability. Two, it'll look more like ceramic because it will be ideally completely opaque. Let's see how that goes. Experimenting to see what we end up with here. And tweezers, little tap. That was silly. Why did I think you could pick up powder with tweezers? What a goofball. Okay. Since we've already watched the process once, not that it's not the most satisfying process in the world watching that go. I'm going to go ahead and pause you and be right back. Okay, this gave a much better ceramic looking result. So I like that better. So now, moment of truth. I don't have, oh yeah, I do. And see, I don't have one of those little stamping platforms, but I think I do. I just don't know where it's at. I put it? It might be in here. Let me check one place. Oh, it is. It's just a little bitty one, but I think it will work for our needs. Let's see if this is supposed to be what it's for. So we'll give it a shot because I don't really ever use this. I don't think it's magnetic. But maybe we can just put this down with the littlest bit of washi tape. I got a million rolls, but I, of course, only want to use one that I probably won't use elsewhere, so I kind of hoard that way. I've got those little glue dots, but I don't know if those are going to give up or let go very easily, so where are you? The end of tape. Here we go. Let's give this a shot. So we're going to tape this guy down. And let's see if I can do this correctly. If I recall, the appropriate way to do it is you set your stamp exactly where you want it. And then you go straight down here and you pick it up. And then you ink it. Now, I'm thinking that black might be a little too much. However, I guess it does break up a little bit. But I didn't use stays on last time. Last time I used archival. So let's do that again. It's smaller, but it's fine. Let's go ahead and ink this guy up and see how we end up. We're only going to press it once, so let's make sure that it's gonna, oh my god, this makes me so, oh, but it's got the little balls, so it should be okay. We can kind of check ourselves. All right, guys, moment of truth. Here we go. Oh, it worked. Well, I kind of got off the edge, but that's okay. I try not to smear it because since it's on top, why am I trying to do this with my fingers? Grab it with this. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so it looks like this might be actually successful. We'll see. I mean, hey, we got lots of steps left, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, next. Let's pop this guy down. I'm going to go this way so he fits good. And let's set the stamp. Here's where if you actually leave a little bit of extra space, it would be helpful. But I didn't. That looks about right, I think. This little thing's pretty handy. Well, and I guess we can see, it had some ink left on it, so I guess we can see that it's lined up well. All right, I'll take it. Gonna have a little bit of smear, but that's okay too. These are going to look a little old, which is fine. That's what we want. And you could go with a lighter color. We could have gone with gray. Set it down carefully, and down we go. Yeah, pretty cool. And I wonder why I don't play with some of this stuff more. Because there's so much stuff to play with, that's why. We only have so much time in a day, right? Go this way a little more. I'll wipe this up. Oops. Stamp. Wipe that guy off. And where'd you go, dragonfly? You gotta be here somewhere. Probably somewhere very obvious. Oh, underneath the paper. There we go. So let's line this fella up as best as we can. Looks pretty all right. This came with the little bitty, I can't remember what the little thing's called. I got it at I think I got it at a thrift store. A little bitty, oh, for the love of God. Whatever, you know what I mean. Die cutting machine. Goodness. Better stop and have another drink of coffee. Okay. Still look good, I think, yes. Perfect. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Surprised. I thought we'd definitely have some major mishaps here, at least with this piece, but hey, we made it. Let's make sure. Is that, I don't want to smear too much. No, it is dry-ish. And it is going to smear a little, and that's okay. That's what we want. We don't want it to be perfect, but for now, we're good. And I'm going to keep this little guy right down here so he is at hand, because I think we need to use him more often. And even if you don't have a die cut, you know, if you want a fussy cut or whatever, it's possible that you might be able to cut after you emboss it, but I would think that might be a little difficult. So we're going to skip that and fussy cut first. All right, heat tool, stay close by. We're going to use you again. All right, let's get these inks out of our way, because now comes the exciting part. Now, when I did the color swatches, I used, I clearly don't clean my desk often enough, but I used Q-tips. But I think for this, I think we want to be a little bit more, I'm thinking, do we want to be more careful with our color, or do we want to try real hard not to overdo it and overthink it and make it harder than it has to be? Let's start with the paintbrush, and I'm thinking, do I want this kind of harder one so that we can work it in, or do I want a softer one? Well, let's just try both. So this is, the paintbrush is what we're going to use to put our color on. How about if we start off, let's get some blue. I love the haze. We'll go with, the metallics don't stay metallic, but they're very pretty. How about some haze, some bronze, and the purples just aren't really purple. Now we could mix them, but let's not get overly fancy. We could go with a little bit of, let's just start and then we'll decide. And we know we're going to start with haze, and we know we're going to use bronze. So let's get out haze and bronze. And if you didn't see the other video, this is just a 24 color mica powder set. I got this on Amazon. It's called Soap Shop is the brand. Got it quite a while ago. Yeah, and so I started playing around with these last week and seeing if we could make it look pretty cool. Let's start with the butterfly. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this powder and I'm going to work it in. Now at first it looks like you don't have enough, but if you keep working it, it really starts to show up well and you start to see that texture. Let's see if you can see that. Do you think I want, whoa, that was a little ridiculous. Holy cow, look at that cloud. The cloud. This stuff is so messy. If you don't mind getting messy, this stuff's pretty fun. If you do like getting messy, well, this might not be, might not be the toy for you if you don't like to be messy. I'm going to bring the blue down here. And then we're going to add some bronze. Now the shimmer part goes away. It's not going to stay shimmery once we put the clear embossing powder over the top. The other thing I'm going to do, and I'm trying to decide, do we want to do it before or after? Let's do it now. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink around the edges to make it look a little old. And give it kind of that, it just gives it a little bit more depth. And where is my other ink? It gives it a little more depth. And it gives it kind of that, that brown edge that you see on a lot of old ceramics. So hold this here. I'm going to go first with the vintage. I'm going to go a little bit further out with that. I should have done this before. Oh Lord, I'm getting mica powder in my thing. Okay, let's, all right, we're going to try this a different way. I'm going to put a little ink down here. I hope I didn't kill that thing. This is an old dauber, so I'm not going to be sad about having to replace it. We're going to do it this way. Look how pretty that stands out. I'm going to go ahead and do the others while I have this out, and then we'll also we'll give them that time to dry. You do need to give it just a little bit of time to dry. Now we are going to seal it in, so that's fine, but you do want to give it some time to dry before you do too much messing with it because of that embossing powder. So there's our first lesson. Ink your edges first before you start messing around with the mica powder. So there you go. We're learning as we go. No problem. I don't even think, I can't tell if it's the mica powder's clear in there or not. We might be okay. might be okay. So let's do the same here with the scorched timber. I'm just going to put it right on top. Pick some of that ink up. Not as far with this, we're just giving it that extra dark just on the edge. Just a little bit of extra detail to give us that little bit of extra depth. Beautiful. Just a little bit of ink left on here, and there's still some in my blender here, my dauber. All right. Right, we are back in business. Okay, now where did my paintbrush go? Here it is. Let's see, I've got a dry baby wipe here. I don't know how well that will be to get it all off, but we're gonna try. Or we can also try, it's pretty, let's see. Can I tell? Yes, I can tell which ones I used last time. Let's try the Q-tip here, and we'll see how the two different ones act. And I just want some bronze here around this edge. See, also gets that texture. And you can get as complicated or simple as you want, obviously, with these colors. And that picked up a little bit of the ink, which is okay. Not too concerned. Let's bring this out just a little, and maybe some in the center. Maybe a little more in the center. Blow that off there. Now, for our bee, shall we make him gold? Isn't super shiny, it turns yellow. How about if we make him, could just go yellow and black. Let's see, yellow and black pearl. And we'll go pearl for the wings. Put these guys back, and black pearl, yellow gold, and pearl. I don't know how this, if this pearl is going to show up or not, but we're going to give it a shot. I had one left. There we go. I'm going to use a fresh Q-tip nub for this guy. You can catch a little. Can see a little there. It is picking up some of that ink, but I'm okay with that. It's a little subtle. And I can't easily see the gold, so let's go ahead and go back to our paintbrush for now. I'm not going to try to do sections. I'm going to just, let's try this other paintbrush. There's enough blue, I think, left on the other one that I don't really want it to turn green. I mean, if it does, that's... If it does, it does. We're okay. Just gonna give him a nice golden body here. It's looking a little messy. Here, let's just put a little gold up here too, and then we'll just put a few little accents of black. How about that? Because we can't get too, we don't want to be too meticulous. That just makes it I don't know what it makes it. My brain stopped thinking right in the middle of that thought. So let's just add a little. It's not really any particular design, obviously. So what do we want to go for the dragonfly? Silver doesn't show up super well. What if we do like a pale? Let's go with the powder and then do a bit of an outline in papaya. Get these guys out of our way. Trying to keep it somewhat simple. It's so easy to really get like just overdo it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's so easy to just overdo it. But we're going to attempt to not do that. So let's just get some of this pretty pink in there. And I'm hoping that the pattern underneath does smear, because I don't want it super, we don't want it super clear. I don't think that we would see something with that clear of a pattern coming from actual ceramic. So just a little bit of darker around the edges. I don't particularly like how that is behaving. Well, that is way too much. Let's get some of that off. I don't know that we're going to see a real difference here, but we're going to try. We're just going to give it a shot and see what happens. I still, even if it doesn't work, I don't think it's a waste, because we sat here and had our therapy, our relax time. And even if it doesn't work, well, we had our time to enjoy ourselves. So I don't consider that a waste. All right. I thought that wasn't closed, and then I was gonna be like, oh Lord, why did I do that? That would be quite a mess. All right, I'm gonna pull back on here and grab that. Give it just a little bit of a blue. Get any of the loose stuff off. Put this down. All right, now when we did this before, what worked best was putting this embossing ink down on the glass and picking it up with our brush. I think I need a drink of coffee before we start this. This is our moment of truth. And we got our clear nearby. And I don't want to go back and forth over it a lot of times. Let's see if we got the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and put this on top. Hopefully having gotten some on the entire thing. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Let's just keep him in here. There might be some spots that we didn't get super good. We'll be a little more careful with these two. Oh, my thing's upside down, duh. There's that, putting the crease in at the end. As I mentioned, I often mess up and do. All right, so we're gonna I'll try to do a little bit better on this one. I don't wanna go back through. I don't think it's that important for that one little spot. I don't want to go back through and swipe over it again. So there's that. You can see it bubbling up a little, but I think we'll be okay. Swipe it just a little bit more quickly and get that on before it starts to I can't think of the word. Well, now I'm in trouble. Here, let's set him here. Yeah, we got good coverage on that. Some hairs, of course. If I could ever make a project without some sort of animal hair in it, that would be cool. But I think it's pretty unlikely. So I don't know who I am kidding or trying to kid. All right. One more. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my brush at this point. Let's see if we can try to put a little bit more down the first time. There we go. And I just touched it, so that might cause a problem, but we'll see. Really hoping that the archival does smear a little bit. Flow is a better word. Flow a little bit. That I can really get this on the edge. Let's see what we end up with. If I do much more of this embossing, I think we're going to have to invest in one of the little trays that catches all your extra powder. All right, here we go. I would turn it off so that you don't have to listen to it, but I think this is our, this is our big payoff for our work. I'm not gonna keep you from that. All right, let's see. Let it get warm here for a second so we're not blowing unnecessarily. All right, awesome. It did. And as I was drying it, I don't know if you could see, but when the clear dried, it pulled, or started melting, it kind of pulled it. So I bet that you would be able to kind of direct the flow a little bit with the force of the air. Now, if you come in straight down from the top, it didn't do it so much, but then when we started moving, then it sure did. All right. Now the colors are subtle. I'll give it a second to cool. Oh yeah, probably should have done it on a completely fresh piece of paper because there is, oh no, might have to clean up the back a little bit because I didn't even think about the embossing powder underneath. But look at this. I think that was successful. I love it. These are super fun. What fun little focal points. Even just on a pocket, or they could be a focal point on a tag. I would like to try one other thing, but we're going to make it quick and easy. Let's see what actually happens if we do try to use our actually, let's just do it here on one of these. If we do try to use our gun, our heat tool, to go ahead and move some of that ink. So we're going to do it super quick. We need a base. So let's get a base. Sorry for having that right in your face. What I did not want to do is emboss all of this. I should have picked it up before I started, but we're trying to hurry here. Which, you know, always works well when we try to hurry. But we're doing it anyway. Let's just flip that over so we don't have that. All right, now let's close this up. And we used archival. Let's just put, that's kind of a thick stamp. Where's the, where is this? We'll just do a little flower because it's right here. Stamp block, please. We're gonna try two things. We're gonna try it with this. All right, and where'd the other piece go? Other piece, where are you? Seriously? There you are. All right, we're gonna try this. And then we are going to try, what happens if we don't use black and instead we would do something lighter like a hickory smoke? Well, or you smear it, or a vintage photo. Maybe that's what we want to do. Let's see what it looks like in brown. Put these on the right ones. That would be disastrous. All right, letting that dry. We need just a little bit of color. How about mint? Why not? It's pretty blue. A little bit more turquoisey. Rub that in. This is dry-ish. I'll go down here. All right. Now, and I set those right in that leftover ink. A little more on there. We can get, let's see what it does if we do a thicker layer. All right. Clear, clear. And that was a little messy, but that's okay. We're hurrying here. Let's see what we end up with. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and use this. If you use a, oh my God, paintbrush or anything like that to hold it down, just make sure it's not plastic because it will melt the tip. All right, so there's our answer. You absolutely can blow it in a direction should you choose. It does look really cool with the, oops, embossed them together. It does look really neat with the brown. I do like that. But yes, so there's our answer. Now it did get a little discolored. I probably burn it a little holding it on there, but you are able, if you hold your embossing gun close enough, it's dry and cool, you are able to create more flow. So if you have a super intricate thing like this and you want more flow, make sure you got a good amount of clear powder on the top, and you can use your heat gun to do it. All right, well, guys, I'm going to say we had a pretty successful experiment today. Super fun, and something new. Some new ways to make some focal points. So thanks for hanging out this morning, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye.